This is TechCrunch. Just 2 months after listing its first venture fund on the stock market, Robinhood is preparing to launch a second. The company has filed a confidential registration for RV2, a standard regulatory step that allows it to work through the approval process before making details public. Unlike its first fund, which currently holds stakes in 10 late-stage companies, RV2 will cast a wider net, investing in growth stage and early stage startups. It's a meaningful distinction given that early stage startups are younger and carry more risk, but also offer the potential for greater returns. The fundraising target for RV2 has not yet been set. The company said in a blog post for its inaugural fund, Robinhood sought to raise $1 billion, but ultimately fell several hundred million short of that goal. Despite the shortfall, though, the first fund has performed pretty strongly. RV1, the ticker for Robinhood's first fund, which trades on the New York Stock Exchange, debuted on the NYSE at $21 a share in early March and has since more than doubled, closing on Monday at $43.69. Market enthusiasm for the AI prospects of the fund's underlying startups has likely fueled the stock's rise. Now, the premise behind both funds addresses a long-standing gap in who gets to invest in startups. Under federal rules, only accredited investors, those with a net worth exceeding $1 million or annual income above $200,000, can put money into private companies. That has, historically, locked ordinary investors out of the earliest and most lucrative stages of a company's growth. RV1 and now RV2 are designed to change that, letting anyone invest in a portfolio of private startups through a regular brokerage account. Robinhood CEO Vlad Tenev said that you can think of Robinhood Ventures as a publicly traded venture capital firm with daily liquidity, no accreditation requirements, and no carry. Daily liquidity means shares can be bought or sold any day the market is open, unlike traditional VC funds where capital is locked up for years. No carry means Robinhood does not take a percentage of investment profits as conventional venture firms typically do. Over the past few years, the most valuable AI startups have gone from early bets to companies worth tens or hundreds of billions of dollars, and almost all of that appreciation has happened in the private markets, out of reach for most investors. Tenev's longer-term vision goes further still, saying the aspiration is if you are a company raising a seed round and a Series A round, so just first capital, retail should be a big chunk of that round, much like it now is in the public markets. And we should let those people in at the ground floor so that they can actually benefit from this potential appreciation that's increasingly happening in the private markets. If that vision takes hold, it could fundamentally change how startups raise their earliest capital, with retail investors eventually sitting alongside venture firms, including in the earliest rounds, where the biggest returns are often made and a whole lot of money is lost as well. Asia's push into physical AI is being fueled by the same manufacturing prowess that made the region a global industrial powerhouse. Across South Korea, Japan, China, and Taiwan, manufacturing remains a central pillar of economic growth. Unlike economies more heavily weighted toward services or software, these countries have long relied on large-scale production, export-driven industries, and highly optimized supply chains. That structural foundation is now shaping how artificial intelligence is adopted and where investment flows, which makes it particularly significant that Config, a Seoul and San Jose-based startup building the data layer for robotics foundation models, has secured backing from the venture arms of South Korea's biggest manufacturers. Samsung Venture Investment led its oversubscribed $27 million seed round at a valuation of more than $200 million, bringing Config's total raised to $35 million. Config was founded in January of last year by CEO Min-Jun Seo, a former researcher at Meta and chief scientist at 12 Labs, along with 3 co-founders with backgrounds at Waymo, Google, and Naver. Instead of building robots themselves, the team is focused on a simpler goal: providing data that robots need to learn and operate. They believe that better data will be key to making robots more useful. Training large language models is expensive because of the computing power required to process them. But the raw material, vast amounts of text from across the internet, is pretty easy to obtain. As CEO said in an exclusive interview with TechCrunch, teaching robots to move is a completely different challenge. Every piece of training data has to be physically collected. Like, you need the robot, the facility to run it, the people to operate it. That makes robotics AI more costly to develop than software-only chatbots. As companies pursue more capable robots, the cost of gathering and labeling data can rise quickly. Config wants to be the company that makes everyone else's robot AI possible. The startup compares its role to TSMC, a Taiwanese chipmaker that manufactures for Apple, Nvidia, and AMD, without competing with any of them. Config aims to play a similar role in robotics by supplying the data. The approach is gaining traction as large manufacturers increasingly seek to build their own proprietary robot AI instead of relying entirely on outside vendors. That is the market Config is betting on. Config is already generating revenue. The startup's current customers include large manufacturers, system integrators, and companies in the agriculture and defense sectors. Peers in the space include physical intelligence, generalist AI, and skilled AI. The funding will go toward 3 priorities: scaling its data operation in Vietnam and Seoul toward 1 million hours of collected data, growing its enterprise platform business to $10 million in ARR by the end of 2027, and launching a cloud-based robot-as-a-service product that lets companies run Config's foundation model without requiring onboard hardware. That's all for now. For the latest tech news, go to TechCrunch.com.